Hello everyone. In this video, let us discuss about the primary memory and the secondary memory. We already discussed about the input and output devices as well as the central processing unit in the previous videos. In this video, let us discuss about the primary memory and the secondary memory. The memory of a computer is more like a predefined working place where it is temporarily keeps information and data to facilitate its performance. So the memory, which is the main working area and also temporarily keeps information, is known as the primary memory. Memory, also called primary storage, is where data and instructions are stored during processing by the CPU. So whenever the CPU processes some information or data, those are stored in the main memory, which is the primary memory. For example, when a teacher comes to your class, he or she would always use the blackboard or the whiteboard, which is the main working place for a teacher. Now, do you think that the blackboard or the whiteboard is a permanent storage for the information being provided by the teacher in your class? Can a teacher that give the notes today view that same notes tomorrow on the same blackboard? No, because suppose in first period one teacher used the blackboard, in the second period another teacher used the same blackboard, so that blackboard can be erased. So it is being used temporarily by teachers. So when the task is performed, it clears in memory and the memory space is then available for the next task to be performed. Now this main memory or the primary memory is volatile in nature. That means when the power is switched off, everything stored in the memory gets erased and cannot be recalled. So I just give an example of a teacher who is teaching in the class. Once the blackboard has been rubbed or has been erased, it cannot be undo. It cannot be redo again the work or recall again the work that has been erased. So it is the storage area which is used for temporarily keeping the information and the data. So that's why it is known as a volatile memory. The memory of a computer can be thought of as cells. So here in this figure, in figure number 1.3, you can see these are the memory cells. So the memory are actually being represented as cells, and each of these cells are being divided into smaller parts known as bits. So keep in mind that the smaller parts of a cell is known as bits, B-I-T-S. Bit or a bit means a binary digit, that is 0 or 1. So only two digits are there. So binary digit, only two digits, and those two digits are 0 and 1. So bit means binary digit, that means only 0 and 1. A bit is an elementary unit of the memory. So remember, or you keep in mind, that a bit is a unit of memory. Other units of memory are KB or kilobyte, MB megabyte, GB gigabyte, and TB or terabyte. So a group of 8 bits is called a byte, and a group of 4 bits is called a nibble. Now if you count these small cells, there are 8 bits. So when there are 8 bits, that means it is a byte. A cell is being divided into bits, and these bits, when they are combined together with in a group of 8 bits, then it is called a byte. B-Y-T-E. So 8 bits together form a byte. The primary memory has two parts, the RAM and the ROM. RAM stand for random access memory and ROM stand for read-only memory. A RAM is best known form of computer memory. A RAM is considered random access because you can access any memory cell if you know the row and the columns that intersect at that cell. Suppose for example you have your exercise copy and there are a few questions and answer in your exercise copy or in your notebook. Is it that you have to study always serially, like question number 1 first, after you learn question number 1, then question number 2, then question number 3? Can you first learn, suppose there are 5 questions, can you first learn question number 1, then if you cannot learn question number 2, you can skip and learn question number 4 and then come back to number 3 and then go to number 5? Yes, we can. So we can access your notes randomly, and you can also read as well as write in your notebook. Suppose you have your copy, if a teacher give notes, you can write in your exercise copy, and later if you want to read it at home, you can read from that exercise copy or from that notebook. So similarly, in a computer, we have a memory, that means a storage area, just like your exercise copy whereby you are storing your notes. In computer also we have a memory or a storage area whereby we can store any information which can be read as well as write, and that is known as random access memory. So keep in mind that you can read as well as write in a RAM. But the main disadvantage or the drawback of RAM memory is that it is a volatile memory. That means when the power goes off, the contents of the RAM get erased. Your exercise copy is not an example of volatile memory. It can be an example of random access, but it is not an example of volatile memory, because when you close your copy after your class is over, you can still access your exercise copy next time. But with RAM, whenever it has been turned off or the power goes off suddenly, the contents of the RAM are erased. So when the contents are erased, it cannot be accessed again next time. So this is one type of memory which is known as the random access memory. Next is ROM. ROM, or a read-only memory, is a memory unit that performs the read operation only. You cannot write, or you do not have a write capability in a read-only memory. A ROM is prepared by the manufacturer and cannot be altered once the chip has been made. Suppose, for example, you have your textbook. The textbook is being written by somebody, by the author, and it is being published by somebody else. So you cannot say that you will edit somebody's work. That means your textbook, suppose you have got a very thick textbook and this is the definition of a RAM and ROM and you don't like it, you will simply give another simple definition which is out of the content. You cannot do that because it is being written by someone else and published it. So you cannot edit any written text on your textbook. Similarly, a ROM is prepared by a manufacturer and it cannot be altered once it has been made. A ROM is the memory unit that performs the read operation only, and it does not have a write capability. It is sometimes called non-volatile memory as it is not erased when the system is switched off. So whenever you have written something in the ROM or you have read something in the ROM, it is being stored permanently. So it is not being erased. The user of the computer cannot actually alter or change the contents of a ROM. The content of ROM is fixed, just like your textbook. Whatever the contents is there, it is fixed. You cannot edit those. Similarly, in a computer, the content of ROM is fixed when the ROM chip or compact disc is manufactured. And keep in mind that the ROM contents are not lost when the computer is turned off. That means next time when you on back your machine, whatever is being there in the ROM, it is still there. Next is the storage unit or the secondary memory. A computer needs to store and retrieve data for processing. Since primary memory has a limited storage capacity and is not permanent, then secondary storage devices are used to store large amount of data permanently. So when you want to store data permanently, we can use the secondary memory. Since the computer's main memory or the primary memory is temporary, secondary memory space is needed to store data and information permanently for later use. Some of the secondary storage media are hard disk, CD, flash drive, etc. So let us now talk about some of the most common storage devices. One example of the secondary storage or the secondary memory is the hard disk. Hard disk is solid rounded disk or a pack of many disks. The disks are made up of a magnetic material and are sealed inside a case. Now in this picture you can see this is a hard disk and it is being sealed inside a case. You cannot see this from outside. You cannot see the disk from outside this case. When you open that case, it actually looked like this one shown in the next picture. Hard disk can store more information and the disk is divided into tracks, cylinders and sectors. The hard disks of today have storage capacity measured in gigabytes, that means in GB, and terabytes in TB. So when we want to buy a hard disk, we can ask for different capacity as we want. Like any GB, like whatever we want, we can ask. Next is the portable flash memory which is popularly known as pen drive. Pen drive is a portable universal serial bus flash memory device for storing and transferring video, audio, and data files from a computer. You must have seen a pen drive, and some of you might have used a pen drive for transferring songs, movies, any videos or data files from a computer. A pen drive, when compared with other storage devices, is expensive. And the size range from 4 GB to 128 GB and beyond that. Pen drive have replaced floppy diskettes and zip disks. So in the olden days, when there was no pen drive, the information or the data are being stored in the floppy diskettes, but nowadays we are using pen drive or the portable flash memories. Pen drive is an electronic memory device in which data can be stored permanently and then we can erase when not needed. Now we can store any information or data, and if we don't need those data anymore, we can erase them. That means we can delete those videos or audios or the data files from the pen drive. Next is the compact disc or CDs and DVD. Here in this picture, these are the example of CD, DVDs, and also of the Blu-ray disc. So a CD is a short form of compact disc, and it is a read-only memory. So whenever you store any information in a CD, that cannot be rewrite again. So whatever is being stored for the first time, it will remain there. You cannot delete anything from the CD. It means that it cannot be erased or written by the user. Next is the DVD. A DVD, also called as super density disc or SD. DVD stands for digital versatile or video disc. DVD stand for digital versatile disc or digital video disc. The DVDs are much faster than the CD-ROM, and it is rewritable. That means you can read also and you can write also, and you can erase or you can rub whenever you don't need the data or the information anymore. You can delete those. Blu-ray disc or BD is an optical disc storage media format. Its main uses are high definition video and data storage. So a Blu-ray disc is an optical disc format which can record and then store and play back high definition video and digital audio, high quality sound and movie data, as well as computer data. So whenever we want to store or record high definition video or digital audio or high quality sound or movie, we can use the Blu-ray disc. A Blu-ray has a higher data transfer rate, which is of 36 megabits per second, than today's DVD, which transfer at 10 megabits per second. So the difference between a Blu-ray disc and a DVD is that the DVD is slower than the Blu-ray disc. DVD transfer data at 10 megabits per second, whereas the Blu-ray disc transfer data at 36 megabits per second. Next is the solid state drive or SSD. This solid state drive is another storage device which is much faster when compared to the hard disk storage. So in a new generation of storage device, this solid state drive will replace or are used in place of the hard disk. So when compared to a hard disk, solid state drive is much faster than the hard disk, and the technologies of this solid state drive is like RAM. So when we use the solid state drive, the computer will function much faster than that of the hard disk. Next is the cache memory. A cache memory is a high-speed memory available inside the CPU in order to speed up access to data and instructions stored in the RAM memory. A cache is a temporary memory area that helps your computer to process information. This is a very high-speed memory which can speed up the CPU. The cache actually acts as a buffer between the CPU and the main memory. The CPU reads instruction from main memory and loads it in a cache. A cache memory is faster than the main memory, and it consumes less access time as compared to main memory. Suppose, for example, in your textbook, when you are asked to turn to a new chapter, which is maybe chapter 7, suppose now if you have not even turned to that chapter and it is the first time for you, what is the faster way for you to search where is chapter 7? Will you turn the page one by one? Will you turn all the pages from chapter 1 to chapter 7 one by one? Or is there any faster way whereby you can find the page number easily? Yes, there is, and that is from the contents of the page. That means the contents of a table of contents from your textbook. There you can see the page number and the page number with reference to your chapter. So similarly, in computer we have the cache memory, which is a high speed memory which is used in order to speed up the access of data and instructions stored in the RAM memory. So whenever the CPU reads data from the main memory, it loads in the cache so that next time when it want to when that data is required again, then the CPU first looks into the cache, so that if it is there or if the data is found there, it will be much faster as compared to the main memory. So we have learned about the main memory being the memory unit that communicates directly with the CPU, and also about the storage devices or the secondary memory, which are the devices that provide backup storage, and these secondary memory are also known as auxiliary memory or external memory. I hope you understand whatever we have discussed in this video. So we will meet again in the next video. Thank you for watching.